Life becomes a lot different, night and day different, once you finally know what's actually going on here. Why you were born, what's going to happen when you die, why you die, the whole concept of, creation through birth and death. Once you finally understand God, the realization of God, and how the spiritual journey differs from that which is an external journey, which revolves around obtaining material items, which is nothing wrong with that. You want to do both. So I'm not saying any of this right now to down actually going after things externally and having when I talk about spirituality. But what I would say is that when you when you know when you know more and you become detached from life in a sense, like the only thing you really attach to is God. The only thing you really truly desire at this point is God, to be reunited with God. It makes manifestation, it makes going after external things, it makes living life a hell of a lot easier. Because you're just not tripping over everything so much. You're not taking life so serious. And when you do take it serious, it's from a sense of still a place of detachment. I was somebody that no matter how hard I tried, like I just couldn't make things work for me. Um, Externally and getting and achieving things and accomplishing this and accomplishing that, becoming a millionaire at this age, whatever. It just wouldn't work out for me. And I would down myself so much because feel like I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't, started feeling like a failure. It didn't get to the point to where I could just completely detach from trying to make something of myself from the eyes of the masses, in a way that I think one of the biggest reasons why we set to accomplish all of these great things at a young age, or we set all of these super high standards for ourselves, is because it's validation, it's external validation. We want to be seen as somebody special from the view of the outside world. So if you somebody that can become a millionaire at a young age of 20, whatever, 20 something, you become important to the world, to how other people view you. You gain power in a sense. That way of living will only keep you from figuring out the truth of your life, figuring out the truth of the universe, figuring out God, finding God. Because when you make money and success, you're God, right? And that everything will come to you once you figure those things out, the less need you have for actually finding God. And within that, you become attached to those things. You become attached to that success. I really think that the best thing that God has done for me now is stop me from achieving success before I actually found God, before I actually found the meaning of life. Now that I have found that, and I'm continuing to still, find that, now it's so much easier and it's so much more freeing for me to go after and try to manifest whatever I want externally now. Because the only thing I actually truly desire is to be reunited with God at this point. And within that, I am currently already that. You are currently already that. I don't want to tell you what you already are. It's like that's your journey to go on, though. But I'm pretty sure you're going to come to the same conclusions as me, right? But I mean a full reunion. Not to say that I have a death wish or anything like that, but uh, I do understand that death is not what we think it is, and that I'm here to just live out. I know why I came here. I know why I came here, and that was for God. Everything is for God. And so I'm here to experience all that God has created to be experienced, all of the goodness and the greatness that is put here to be experienced within the universe that God created. But the only thing I really truly desire at this point now is to be as close to God as possible. And through God's grace, I will experience all that life has to offer in that sense. Like I'm still live out my life, obviously, but And I know that's a weird way. It's just a whole weird way of describing this. But this is the true perspective that I have now, where I'm currently at within a spiritual journey. I didn't even know I was gonna be able to get to this point. But everybody goes through their journey when they go through it, if they're meant to go through it within his lifetime. But I just want to tell you, if you are somebody that has been getting called to go on a spiritual journey, or you're somebody that's currently going through a spiritual journey, or you're somebody that already went through the spiritual journey and you get exactly what I'm saying, I just want to touch on this topic of when you really put God first. Some people say it, but then it's still like they're going to be upset and mad at the world if their external does not look a certain way. That is not putting God first. Putting God first means that all you desire is to be reunited with God, and a realization that you already are. But you're gifted this ability to live out an experience in a world that God created for you to live through. Full reunion comes when you leave here. My dad passed away when I was about 20 years old, and it kind of still rings a bell in my head. I wasn't there when he actually left, but I had aunties and family members that was around him. And what they had told me, from what I remember of how it happened, was because he was getting sick, so we already knew that was gonna happen. But when he was actually going, like the last few things that happened before he left, was that they said he opened his eyes real big and was like, "Ooh, I see it." Like, and they say when you're getting ready to pass, your body is flooded with chemicals, these good feeling chemicals. Your brain is flooded with these good feeling chemicals. And I'm realizing that that's not really so much just a side effect of that's just a coincidence that happens. It's like your soul, your whole being feeling what it already experiences before it actually comes down here to human form. So that bright eyes and ooh, I can see it, and feeling all of these good emotions now right before you move on is because you are being reunited with all that is good, with all that should be actually praised, which is God. And so when you truly desire God, it's because you see nothing but joy. God is nothing but joy. I feel like I'm getting a bit deep with that, but I feel like I need to explain why I'm saying what I'm saying in that sense. But a lot of this really is talking about just really external physical manifestation, right? Because that is what we got two sides of the coin, right? The spiritual side of it, where everybody say just feel how you want to feel, search for God, and everything that that's why Jesus was killed, and all of these different prophets that will preach to you to not care about the external so much and all of this, and just give all your worries to God and stop caring so much about your external. They was killed, and you got this opposite side of the coin where it's like focus so much on your external environment, competition, getting ahead of other people, making sure your lineage is taken care of in terms of material wealth. And I think both sides of the coin have I think you're supposed to do both of them. People think just because you become enlightened, that means you can't desire material possessions anymore. But I'm here to really tell you specifically that that is not true. The only thing that happens is that you become detached from those material possessions. You become detached from the need of and the strong desire of material possessions, but you're able to just play the game. You still can have the desire to go after them and get it. Honestly, when you actually, the way the external world really started working out for you is the less you detach to it. Because the more you attach to it, the more you're giving so much meaning and purpose towards these external things that you desire, the less likely you are to actually achieve getting it, because you're putting too much emotion, you're putting too much importance on it, you're putting it too high on a pedestal, to the point where you're psyching your own mind out from actually just doing what it is that you need to do to get the thing, because you think this thing is going to change your life so much. You think this thing is such You think these external things is the pinnacle of living, the pinnacle of whatever. And that's what can create, you know, I was I gonna say prostitution, which is gonna create procrastination in your mind. It's gonna create you getting caught like a deer in the headlights at the brightness of all of these material manifestations that you want to acquire. But when it really you as a man, like you as a human, man, woman, you are way more powerful than what you think. You are way more powerful than what you think. You have you not only have the mind with you, and the mind alone makes you godlike. Your mind makes you godlike. Not only do you have that side, but you also have nature on your side through your body. So you are a split between God and nature together. This means you can experience the physical reality from the lens of God. If you can bring your mental awareness to that point, basically by getting rid of most of your limiting beliefs, clearing the mind out as much as possible from that which you were taught as you were growing up, or all of these labels that we put on the world. And is if you can keep questioning those and pulling those layers back, go on your spiritual journey, whichever way you want to find it, which whether it's through Christianity, the Quran, Judaism, any other forms of spirituality, philosophy, right? Any forms that you want to take to get to the same route of finding God. What was I saying with that? Listen, it'd be a lot going through my mind, all right? Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. So yeah, you become more godlike as you overcome the mental bondages that you put yourself in through the strong beliefs that you might attach yourself to, which are a lot of them really are half truths. So the more you can actually start seeing the world from this more open-minded viewpoint of everything, this sort of sense of I don't know, or that nothing is ever just static this way. There's always half truths in whatever it is that you want to believe on any spectrum. That's how you reach like a more godlike sense of being through your mind. Your mind is what takes you honestly from lower vibrational animal sense of thinking all the way up to higher vibrational God-like sense of thinking. And it's about the lens and the perspective from which you are viewing life through that takes you there. The perspective is more than like this. The lens is more than just now you seeing life that way. It's actually a spiritual thing that's happening within your soul as you elevate to start seeing life from the lens of God as much as possible. Because first you're gonna think that you're just this body, you an animal. Then you're gonna move up. Hey, maybe I'm just the mind. My mind I control the body. Then it's hey, well maybe I'm just a soul, right? And I control the mind and I control that. And then it go up and even more. And it's just like wait, hold on, maybe I'm really everything. And this life that I'm living is a paradox in terms of my experience is localized, but at the same time, if there's only really one thing that exists, then how can I be separate from that one thing? And if that one thing permeates all that exists, I too am the same thing. That's basically God likeness. And people think that when you start thinking like that, then it's gonna be hard for you to live real life. But no, that actually that actually helps you to live life from a more grounded. It's just a whole sense of new power. Especially when you understand mental transmutation, you understand how to use your mind, you understand that most of your beliefs you create. You understand that your mentality creates your reality. Your mind is your reality, basically. All right, we do have a physical reality which states that you have to abide by the laws of nature. In terms of, if you do something, it's gonna have this effect. If you punch a wall, it might break your hand, right? Things like that. How you see your hand breaking when you punch a wall, and you might see that viewed as a bad thing, is internally a mental. It's part of your mental reality. How you see the world, how you perceive how the world is supposed to go. Like what's good, what's bad. You're not supposed to punch a wall because you're gonna break your hand, and that's a bad thing. And this being because of this and this and it, that is your mental reality crafting itself, right? Another person can see it a completely different way, right? Not to say that it'd be the healthiest different way to see things, but that's just an example, right? Some things make more sense in terms of, yeah, you don't want to break your hand, but a lot of other things that I can't really think of right now, but I'm sure you get what I mean. Other beliefs that actually don't harm your physical body, but may harm your ability to live out your freest life beyond the need for external validation or for it to look a certain way for you to feel good, your external environment to look a certain way for you to really experience life. When you understand that, now it's like, okay, cause and effect. I know people like to talk a lot about law of attraction when it comes to manifestation, but I think the way a lot of people even talk about law of attraction is like, it's not really right. They just say how, your thoughts is going to magically gravitate everything that you want towards you once you start visualizing and you start thinking about it so much and you see it as already done. You see it as already yours. Essentially what that's talking about is just changing your perspective on life. So if you think money is bad and you shouldn't have a lot of it, you grew up not having a lot of it, somehow subconsciously you're going to create causes that brings that effect into reality. So you're going to spend, you won't have good money habits, right? You won't save your money. You won't put more time into building different avenues for wealth. So it's all just talking about changing your perspective of how you see life and getting rid of limiting beliefs on what you feel like you should have and what you shouldn't have. To be honest with you, you are completely wide open. Like, I don't even believe in identity shifting really. And that just kind of came to me today, but it's like, I don't really believe in identity shifting. I feel like it's best because when you identity shift, you still placing yourself, you just taking yourself out of one box and putting yourself into another box. That's all you're doing when you identity shifting. Now, it can be a better box that you're placing yourself into, but it's like, what if everything is just open and it's just whatever you desire, whatever you desire externally for yourself, you just decide to go after that. So it's like you don't need to believe in you don't need to believe you're anything. Like if anything, you just need to believe that you're everything. The only real belief that you need is in God and the truth of God's nature and how abundant God is. And that's all the belief you really need. The only reason you will need to install a more positive belief around something is if it was once a negative belief, just to pull you back to neutral. Now, I don't know if you believe in astrology or not, but that's actually where you get your personality from. It's really crafted by the planets that is around, the celestial bodies that is around, the ones that actually dominate how us humans interact with each other in life in general. How you are is a certain way based on how the planets are influencing these different aspects of your personality, right? But rather you are more courageous in a sense, rather you have more fire in you, rather you are more warlike, rather you are more peaceful and water-like, rather you are more timid. A lot of these things come from the celestial bodies around us and the potency of their presence as you were born that actually help to craft your personality as a person. Go after what you want, but try to detach from it as much as possible, because that's going to help you get exactly what you want, because you're not putting it so much on a pedestal, so you're able to go after it and just do it. And that's really what you want, is become more emotionally and mentally mature to the point where you know how to use your mind, you know how to transmute, you know how to actually manifest things, you know that beliefs are just beliefs and you can change them, you know that the body is just a body and you can make it move in which way you want to make it move to create whatever you want to create. This world is open for you through the power of your mind. Once you really master your mind, everything is available to you. Truly, only desire God, though. I hope you have a good one.